Good evening, everybody, and welcome back again to Ask the Knights Live. I am Baron Logan Path Warden of the West and Drakkenwald, and I welcome you to another fantastic episode of Ask the Knights Live. Why is it fantastic, you ask? Well, because once again, I have two amazing knights for you guys to meet. And before we go any further, let's just bring them on. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you?
Evening.
Evening.
It's good to see you. So I think we're going to start this evening off correctly, and just raise a little glass here. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having us. I really appreciate it, Logan. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. Super stoked.
Awesome. All right, so let's get it started the right way here, and let's go ahead and introduce you guys, or have you introduce yourself to the audience.
I'm Duke James the Holy, Serpent of Wolfwine. I'm a knight and pelican in the Kingdom of Glenavon. I started 2003, 2004. So.
Excellent. Welcome.
I am Duke Uther von Ziemer. I'm a knight, and goodness, I got my authorization card in like '94 in what is now the Kingdom of Glenavon, was our mother kingdom Meridia's at the time.
Awesome. Well, once again, thank you for being on the show this evening. Now, I have to warn all of my viewers, our producer, Cal, is on a well-deserved vacation. I tell you, this is the hardest working man in the ESCA. Seriously, he is either on and produces or just produces like 13 different SCA web shows and a couple of non-SCA web shows. He's just working his butt off. So he's taking a little time off, some well-deserved time off. But I tell you that because tonight's episode may be a little rocky as far as tech things go, because I'm running it all myself. So you guys get to see exactly how important he is to making this show go smoothly. All right, so with that being said, first thing I got to do. See, I found the button. So just in case
there might be a off-color metaphor from time
or
to
six. Like I've said a million times before, this show is not for the faint of heart. And sometimes it might even make you faint. So I hope that we will have some fun and everything will be good. And then the other part of this is not an officially sanctioned show of the Society for Creative Anachronism. So if we say something on here that you don't like, I'm sorry.
When we say something on here that you don't like.
when we say something that you don't like. Yes. Okay, so before we get started with our questions, I have to remind the audience that this show is for you and you are part of this show. What do I mean by that? Well, that means that the second half of the show, it's all your questions. So make sure that you're asking your questions in the comments as the show goes along, and you'll get the last 30 minutes of all your questions. I will pick and choose all the best ones. Actually, probably the worst ones. I will pick and choose from everything that you guys sent in. But if you guys don't send in any questions, we don't have half a show. It's just going to be the three of us sitting here looking at each other. So get those questions.
We'll come up with something.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. But yeah, go ahead and get those questions in right in the chat there. Okay. All right, enough of that. Gentlemen, thanks again for being on here. Are you ready for some questions?
Let's
Yes,
do it.
sir.
Okay, all right. I'll take that as an affirmative. Okay, so my very first question that I always ask is, so how did you get started in the SCA?
In 92, I went to a gaming convention on the coast called CoastCon 16. I was a student at the University of Mississippi at the time, living in Oxford, and I saw an SCA demo there. And one of the first people I ever met in the SCA was Lord Loric Silvestris, who is now a Duke and a Pelican and a Laurel and a bunch of other stuff. I doubt he even remembers who I was because that was a kind of crazy fun con. But as soon as I got back to Oxford, I looked up the local group Hammerhold and got in touch with the Seneschal Alan Horn there. And that was it. Went to a fighter practice and never looked back.
Awesome. Wait. See, there's that tech issue. I'm still
You
learning.
did it though, man. You're right. You did it.
So I had a kind of weird come-ins into the SCA. So I got first introduced to SCA when I was probably 13 or 14. I was raised in a kind of a commune type situation, and my parents had me come home. Wanted me to finish school out in public school and stuff. So met some friends in public school. Was into history. I boxed, I wrestled and stuff, and they just didn't have that in the South. So they're like, hey, but we do this other thing, or my brothers do this other thing. So I went to a con. They told me to meet them at this convention, and it was going to be my introduction to SCA. And like I said, I was probably 14, 15. And, at that time period, it wasn't a lot for kids. So they kind of had this like piss off attitude towards me, which I get, but at the same time, I was like, a bunch of crusty old, cock nozzles. So, I was like, left it, never wanted to come back. Was like, fuck this. So fast forward several years, I had a bunch of gaming friends and stuff, and developed a large gaming community in the area. And contacted one of my friends I hadn't seen him in a while. I'm like, hey man, we're gonna start gaming again, doing some stuff, some judo and stuff. And he's like, oh, I can't. I've got fighter practice. I'm like, what do you mean fighter practice? And he's like, oh, I'm in the SCA. And I'm like, you did what? You joined those dudes? Like, no way, man. And but he was like, no, they're cool. And I'm like, no, they're not. They're a bunch of dad bod fucking cock smoking peckerwoods. And he was like, no, come out. So I did. I went out mainly because I thought him being in armor would be funny, and it was. But I met some really cool people, and that's how I joined. Jumped back in, So, and here I am.
That's awesome. So that rolls directly into our next question, and Your Grace, I'll let you go ahead and start off the answer here. Is what keeps you coming back?
Man, we are the music makers. We are the dreamers of dreams.
Okay, I got you. That is the I have to say the most interesting answer that we've gotten to that question so far.
I mean, that's that's what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
You Grace Uther?
See, what happens is you get a bunch of people get up here, and a lot of them say the same thing. Oh, it's the people and whatever, right? And yeah, of course it is. But what are those people? James said it succinctly. They're the dreamers, right? These are the people who make everything happen on such a scale that it's hard to comprehend sometimes. You got 5,000 people in one place at one time and everything's running dead smooth. Who all does that? It's the people who dreamed it, who planned it, who worked their ass off to make it happen, And that's what keeps me coming back. Yes, the people as a entity are part of it, but it's that drive behind what they do, that dream that they want to portray to everybody around them. That's what's kept me going since 94. It's what's going to keep me going until they, wheel me off a field somewhere in a cart and chuck me in a ditch like the Ukrainians do.
Well, that's absolutely awesome. Thank you. Like, so honestly, those were the most, I'm not going to say interesting because all of our guests have interesting answers, but those are the most unique answers I think I've gotten to that question yet so far. Okay, so let's move on to another one here. And this is one that I like to throw in just about every episode now because I I think it's really important, especially for us unbelts, to know the trials and tribulations that you guys went through, before the accolade, before you came the legends of the SEA. And so what do you think your biggest hurdle was as an unbelt? What did you,
My
what was the thing that you had to?
ass mouth. So I had a big sports background until I hurt my shoulder. I actually had a scholarship to play middle linebacker at Mississippi State under Rocky Felker. So, and then I hurt my shoulder. So when I got in the SCA, I had a big sports background. I was a big, no, not big, but, I was fit and whooping ass and I want to hit people with sticks and this was great and all that. And, and that's what it was. Yeah, I had to grow the hell up. I mean, let's be honest about it. Now, a lot of us don't see that when we're going through that, but that's the truth. I had to grow up. I was young and stupid. And yeah, I was the first one on the field, last one off. I was also the last one staying up until 4 o'clock in the morning doing shots with crazy people. But, but what it means to be a knight, I had no freaking clue until about 6 months before I was honored with the accolade. And I think it was about 6 months before they honored me with the accolade that I actually freaking got it and understood what it was all about.
Was there a particular moment where, of clarity?
Yeah, I was the youth combat marshal at the time. And several of the youth combatants had come up to me. I just got done fighting and we were sitting under a tree and we were talking about what they wanted out of the youth combat program, not what I wanted. And it was sort of an allegory to the whole knighthood path. It's not what I want. It's what the people want out of you as a peer. And it just kind of sunk into my head talking to these kids that you guys are a lot more wiser than I've been in the last 15 years. Yay. Thanks.
They say sometimes out of the mouths of babes.
Yeah. And then everything that they said, I was like, yeah. Okay. Thanks.
How about you, your grace?
I from squire to knight for me was a relatively short time period. But prior to that, getting to that point where I dedicated myself to it, because I'd passed up a couple of red belts and stuff. But when I very first started, like I'm very crass. I've got a lot of tattoos and piercings and stuff. I'm a punk kid upbringing, background. And so when I first jumped in, there was a lot of disdain towards me and stuff like that, like all the punk kid. And it pissed me off because, again, I was like, I had athletic background. I was coming to these old fucks kind of telling me what to do. And I would listen to them, like coaching, right? Like listen to that. But then they would just kind of, turn their back to me when it was like time to really talk, not just fighting stuff. And that kind of pissed me off. So it put a fire underneath me, to really get better and do better, because I was going to shut down the fucking monarchy, right? I was going to rise up against these fucks and just crush them. And like 6 months later, I won Princess Champion, and I had a knight come up to me and flat out tell me, he was like, "Hey man, yeah, you're doing really good, but with all them tattoos and piercings, man, you're just not going to make it in this organization." And I was like, "Fuck you, man!" And that fired me up again. And but it was being Princess Champion, sitting behind the throne, watching all the people that have bought into the SCA. That was that hurdle for me, that thing that changed it for me. That, I was like, wow, there's a lot more to this than just, beating people with sticks. There's like real emotion. I watched when we split Kingdom, I watched all these knights have to break their fealty to their Mother Meridies because they were now going to be in Glenavon. And watching that passion, the raw passion, it just changed me, and it made me look at things differently. And it's like, you know what, man, like, I don't have to buy into their bullshit, into these other guys' bullshit. I can buy into my own bullshit. I can be a knight on my own, doing my own thing, just by doing what you're supposed to do, right? And and eventually you realize, like, that, yeah, that's what everybody's supposed to be doing, right? Not trying to be a knight, but be a knight. And long about way of saying that, I guess, is yeah, just buying in, man. That was my biggest hurdle, was buying into it.
I totally understand. I've said this on this show a million times. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got was actually from my knight, and it was, don't try to get knighted, just try to be knightly. And it has made my career a lot more enjoyable, because it's not about getting the belt and the spurs. It's about anytime that someone thinks that I'm already a knight, that's when I know that I'm doing stuff right, and that's I feel good about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for those answers, gentlemen. That was awesome. So we're only about a quarter of the way into the show, and we're doing really, really well.
I wonder what the F-bomb counter is, James.
Well, between the three of us, I think we're doing pretty good.
I think we're keeping pace.
Yeah. So, if there is anybody else out there who's keeping track, make sure that we get those numbers at the end of the show, because we may have a small wager on it. So
I say fuck a lot. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Trust me. Look, 20 years in the U.S. military, I've had to deprogram myself quite some bit, just to be allowed out in like the grocery stores and stuff. So, okay. So now that you've talked about the difficulty in being an unbelt and the hurdle that you had to get over, now that you have the accolade and you both have not only been knights, but you're also royal peers, this is the one. What's the hardest thing about training or teaching someone else? Wait. Ha, yes, got it.
Man, like, every person's different. Some people, the hardest for me is people that won't listen to what you're trying to give them. This is the only sport I've ever participated in where you've got to prove yourself in order to teach. Like, I go up to somebody, I'm like, hey, do you mind if I show you some things? And they're like, yeah, sure. But then you can tell they're just kind of pacifying you because you're a knight or a duke or whatever. Like, you have to prove that you're worthy to give your knowledge. That upsets me more than anything. Because this organization, everything is given freely, right? You have a field of coaches out there, and you'll have this one jackass who just, he wants to go out there and have every night out there prove themselves to him before he'll take a lesson. That's horrible to me. I hate that. I'd much rather spend time with the people that come up and just, open up their door and just let you vomit all the information in. That to me is the biggest thing. Is the one thing that I find frustrating.
Completely understandable.
Getting out of your own way as a teacher, not making it about you. And that's one of the hard things to do, right? Is to offer advice and offer help to somebody, and like take that personal offense when they don't do what you told them to do that would make them better, right? What you need to do, in my opinion, as a teacher is just, look, I give you the tools. You're either going to fucking use them or you're not. Now, I've got 3 crowns, principality list, I'm a knight, I travel all over the world. You can take that as a consequence of what I'm trying to teach you works, or you can go about your own way and see how long and how far it gets you. But you got to get that out of your head. You just have to say, look, if you ask, here's the answer. I'm going to try to teach you this. But it's up to the person to go and do that. And I think that's made me a much better teacher, to not be as personally almost offended when they don't do what they asked me to show them to do, and then they don't do it. You know, it's like, okay, well, and you just kind of have to step back and go, that's on you. I'm here. I'll help. I'll teach. But if you're not going to do it, you're not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think sometimes knights, we hold on to our words like it's the gospel. Like we're like, oh, okay, you know, I give out this precious thing. Like, yeah, I agree with you. That's getting past that is a big thing.
It's been a huge thing for me. I used to get so pissed. Pissed.
Yeah.
I just shat you a golden egg, and now you're not even going to polish it. I mean, come on, man. Here it is. Here's the thing, and you're not. But you got to get that out of your head. You got to not do that. And I'm so happy I don't do that anymore. I'm just so happy I don't. It has freed my ability to teach to new heights by not. I just don't take it personal anymore.
Awesome. Very, very cool. So this is this is one of my favorite questions on this, because it allows you guys to talk either very nicely or talk smack about one of the people that you love. And that question is, who is your SCA hero and why?
I have 2 that I will speak nicely about, and one that I'll talk a little smack about.
Go for it.
The 2 that I will speak nicely about is Count Francois Duvant, who was my knight's knight. John the Bear Killer was my knight. Count Francois was his knight. He was a wonderful and chivalric man who I always looked up to and at as that thing that you would try to attain to, as what chivalry would look like, right? My second would be Surly Freebrand, who in his own way was the best knight I've ever met. Taught me and a lot of people a lot about what it meant to be a steward of the society and a steward of the SCA in all that you do. And then, you know, I got to throw his ass in here. John Bear Killer, my knight. I mean, the guy has been doing so much for so long, right? And I think a lot of people overlook it because, oh, that's just John. But take a step back and look at the stuff he's done. He's done a hell of a lot for the organization over the years, and you can't. I mean, you can give him shit for being Pawpaw. My squires call him Pawpaw because he's Grandpa. Right? So, and they all have since I took my first freaking squire, and I told him go call him Pawpaw, right? But you know, you got to look up to a guy that's put that much of his life into an organization and into what we do.
You're not just saying that because he's probably watching right now, right?
Oh, hell no.
Okay. And because you know he was on last week, right?
Oh, I know. I watched him. Yeah. I watched him and Shep. It was fun.
How about you guys?
I don't have SCA heroes. We're all people, you know, and I hate. I like to think that, you know, where we don't have it, you know, I don't have SCA heroes, but I see a lot of people doing heroic things, you know, and I think that's part of the beauty of organization, right? Is that, you know, common man can reach up. I say common man, it sounds very dickish, but you know what I mean? Like somebody can walk into the SCA and inspire just right out the gate. Just come in and just do amazing things, then do heroic things. And I think it's kind of one of the reasons I don't want to put anybody up on my pedestal or say like, oh, these guys are my heroes, because everybody's fallible. And I just don't want to think of, people that way. Because like I said, everybody aspires to something or should be aspiring to something. And so I have a saying in the SCA. I tell my squires, I tell everybody this: never turn down the chance to be a hero. And that's for everything, right? Somebody's needs help washing dishes or putting up a pavilion or, tying their shoe, anything. You can step out and do anything, little thing to you might be something monumental to somebody. They got like a shitty week, shitty day, whatever. You never know what's going on in somebody's life and how you can affect that just by being a decent, cool person. And it's just many acts of herodom, I guess, that can mount up and mean the world to somebody. So yeah, never turn down a chance to be a hero.
Awesome. That's excellent answers, gentlemen. All right, so we got about probably time for one more question before we reach the halfway point. Wow, I even have less than half a glass of booze, and apparently my tongue does not want to work today. So
you're out of practice. That's all it is. You're out of practice.
It must be.
You got to drink with people. Yeah, you got to get back into practice.
That's what it is. I haven't had. I need a major war.
Yeah.
To have the after evenings. Like that was always the best. Like you go out, you fight all day, you're all sore and everything, and then you have that first beverage right before you go to the showers, and then all right. So if you're rolling with Drakenwald, it's that first beverage right before you go to the showers, and then you put your towel on, and then you go to the showers with your second, third, and fourth beverage.
Okay. Oh yeah, shower.
Yeah, and then
oh yeah, shower.
But
yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, and then by the time you're done at the showers, you feel really, really good, no pain whatsoever. All right. So here's a good question for us. So what event are you most looking forward to? One in kingdom and one out of kingdom for the next year. Like the pandemic is going away. We're going. I mean, we've got a date, June 1st, for getting back into it. So what are you looking most forward to going to? And I'll throw in a caveat. What event that you've never been to are you going to try and get to, or would you like to try and get to in the next year or so? Oh, that is wait, tech stuff. Haha, I got it. Look at me.
Got it.
Look at me go.
In Kingdom, it's Gulf Wars, no doubt. I love Gulf Wars. And it's in our backyard, super friendly. Shade. I love it. It's to me, it's my favorite event in the SCA. Out of Kingdom, oh, man, that's tough. Like selfish me says Sport of Kings because I'm lost a bunch of weight, a shit ton of weight. So I'm trying to build my fighting back. So being able to go to Sport of Kings and learn just all the knowledge that's on that field is great. But a part of me, and another part of me says Australia. Like I'm really looking forward to going to Australia. I've met a lot of people online. I want to meet them face to face. I want to hold their hands. I want to hug them. I want to talk to them. I want to, help them, set up their camps and get to know people, in the down and dirty of it. So probably that. The big one I want to go to, I want to do, what is it, Double Wars over in Dragonball?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Are you part of our?
I am.
Are you part of our Facebook group? Good.
Yeah, and I'm trying super hard to make that because that sounds badass.
Yes. Oh yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Double Wars 2022. Look up West and Friends. Go to Double Wars on Facebook. Is a Facebook group. Tons of good, friendly Drachenwalders on there who are going to help you out and
wow,
basically help you get there and then have fun once you get there.
My passports weren't ready to go. There, James. I'm not lying.
Yeah, man.
Awesome, dude.
Fly right out of Memphis.
Just straight out.
More than rare.
Event in Kingdom. I absolutely adore Gulf Wars. I think I've missed like 3 of them total since they started. So unfortunately, I won't be able to go to that event this year. I have a wedding that I have to go to in Orlando that was planned out, and so if it was on its normal time frame, it would be fine. But so I'm really just looking forward to that very first Glenavon event, whatever it is. I just don't care what it really is. I just want to go to an event. And just be with my people, and get back with them. Out of Kingdom, you stole it right out, James. Sport of Kings, man. I went once several years ago when I was on the throne, and one of the best events I've ever been to, just ever, because of the knowledge, the teaching, the tournaments, just everything about it. However, I do really want to go out to Great Western War too. I really want to hit that event. I really do. I've heard so many great things about Great Western War, and I'm super excited about hopefully getting out there and doing that one.
Well, I can tell you 100% Great Western War is fantastic. So is West Antier War. You'll hear the Antierians call it Antier West War, but it's West Antier War. But yeah, in Great Western War, it's a really, really good time, and I guarantee you, either one of those that you choose to go to, if you give us a little lead time, we will make sure that you are welcome, comfy, safe, happy, and drunk. That's the most important part right there. Like the between. I know that every kingdom in the known world would argue that they are the most hospitable, but I will put Drakkenwald and the West Kingdom against any other kingdom in the entire known world. So that's a challenge for all you folks out there. Just be nice to each other. All right, so we've hit the halfway point. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So we've hit the halfway point of the show, and it's time. We've got our sponsor this week. It's Trade Winds of the Levant, a fantastic little company. I mean, the whole point of this company is to make the SCA look more historic without breaking your bank. But if you do want to break your bank, if you have a huge bank and you want to break it, you can't go wrong with them because they've got all kinds of customizable things that you can do with the stuff that they're making. And I'm going to shut up about it, and we'll just watch this little commercial here.
The helmet I'm wearing.
All right. I'm sorry.
My current helmet is from them, actually.
Oh, see, I just got my new helmet. I got from them. Actually, it was on the video. It's that burgundy with the black and white.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. That's schmexy. Mm.
Yeah. And I tell you, like their whole purpose is to make the SCA look better at a more reasonable price. They are not works of art like someone like a seer or one of those makers make. Like those are works of art. This is functional armor, but it looks good. It looks historical, and you can get started. But the best thing that I like about them is that they don't take any money until your order is done.
Right,
You
until
know
you're
what I mean?
happy
Like,
with it, right.
yeah. So, all right. So enough kissing our sponsors' ass, but they already know how much I love them.
Ah,
So
uh,
they know better. They know that I think that they're the best anyway. So let's get into some audience questions, shall we?
yes, all right.
Oh wait. Before we do that, I meant to throw this up earlier. Wait, where'd it go? Oh, you see that? I told you he's watching you. He's watching you right now. And I have to throw this one up too because I thought that was pretty damn funny. Hey, it's been getting off easy lately, so we thought we'd give it a little workout.
Yeah.
People are so nice. Wow.
So don't forget, folks, continue to drop those questions right into the comments, and we will get into this one. This one looks really good. This one is from Thomas Kinrickson. He just says Squire. I guess he's just Squire or nobody. Thomas, if you're out there, you're probably going to get in trouble with your knight, but that's okay. With franchise being a matter of opinion, how much does franchise play in your decision on taking a squire or even recommending a candidate for knighthood? Oh, dang, I keep on forgetting. We don't have Cal here to do all my tech stuff. All right.
Okay, so let me disclaimer this.
I'll put the question back up there.
For every knight or every circle, I speak for myself. Franchise is not a matter of opinion. In the knight circle, you have prowess and you have franchise, which is everything else. It's not a matter of opinion, right? It's what have you done other than swing stick. So franchise is extremely important. Now, on taking a squire, on inviting a squire into my household, initially, no, because I believe that really one of your jobs as a knight to your students and to the members of your household is to lead and teach them to exhibit those knightly virtues and franchise and all of that. So you don't really have to have I mean, why would you take into as a student, somebody that's a really super hot stick, if that makes any sense, right? I mean, you're a student. So it doesn't really play a big part in my decision making, because I feel that those are things that I will teach and they will teach me, and we will learn together how to be better stewards of the SCA, and that whole thing is franchise.
Well said.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo a lot what Uther said. The swinging a stick is what lets you open the door. What you walk in with is franchise. So taking a squire, I want somebody that that kind of gets it. Sure, kind of understands, like, hey, this is something you need to do. But like, as far as having their own franchise, that's kind of my job too, right? To be the PR guy, to help kind of build them up to that. So, for taking a squire inside the circle, yeah, franchise is like everything. Like when I look at the list of shit people do, number one, are they a dick? Number two, how's their franchise? And if we're talking about them, there's probably swinging a stick pretty good at this point. So, franchise is the most important, and not just for knights, for peers in general. Like, that's, yeah.
Well said. Well said. Now, I'll throw a little quick caveat onto well, not caveat, but a little rider onto this one. So, what to you is franchise? Is it how they look? Is it how they act? Like, what else? What else do you, or what are all the things that you lump into franchise?
To me, it's everything else. It's the court of graces, how they present themselves, their understanding of how the SCA kind of operates and works. You don't have to be a master of it, and have this giant in-depth knowledge. But you at least got to kind of know. This has been said before, and I think it was I heard that thing from Duke Aegon. If you take somebody and drop them in a place where the SCA did not exist, could they create SCA? That's franchise.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it encompasses all of that. Service, dress, graces, like James said. All of that. Like I said, there's two parts of being a knight. There's the prowess part, and then there's everything else, which is in essence franchise. Absolutely,
I agree. Okay, so for those of you who are wondering if it's West Antier War or if it's Antier West War, Don says it's Antier West War. I'm going to have to disagree, and because it's my show, I'm going to say that I'm right.
I thought it was Antier West Antier War. Is it West Antier
No.
West Antier War?
It's definitely West Antier Western War. Great okay. Western Antier War, even. I mean, it's. I'm not biased.
How far west do you have to go before you're not going west anymore? Is pretty much.
Well, our farthest bit is the far west, and that's
west. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, our farthest bit is Korea. So that's the far west.
Oh, that's a far away west.
They're still part of the west. So
that's pretty far west.
Just saying. All right. So we have this one from Colin Thompson. And it says, to you, what is the most frustrating part of being a knight? Being on shows like this.
Oh, this is the best part.
This is the best. Yeah, this is so nice. The most frustrating part. Wow. God, that's a really, really hard question. What's the most frustrating part? So I think that this kind of goes into that stewardship of the SCA, right? The most frustrating part is sometimes you have to give up part of your dream so that somebody else can have theirs, right? So, and that's not really exactly frustrating. Personally frustrating is people when don't listen to me when I tell them how to do something, and then they, But as a peer and as a steward of the SCA, that's the one that gets to me and has gotten to me in the past, where you are required to make sure that everyone around you has the chance to have that dream, right? And it's your responsibility to look out for them. And that can become cumbersome at times. Not exactly frustrating, but cumbersome. In my opinion. Remember, this is just me.
All right. Chris James.
Man, you get to be a rock star from swinging a stick. So, don't be a chode monkey, and it always rocks. It never sucks. It's never frustrating. That's my answer.
Well said. Well said. Okay, so this next question comes from one of my favorite people in the entire world, um, and that is Sir Eva, way down and I don't know how they I can never say it right. It's something with a
Shouldn't you say?
I say it dirty, and I don't want to offend anybody because I'm always like Lowcock, and I hope that's right because I'm not trying to be like offensive, but that sounds right to me.
Those things that sound dirty but aren't. You know?
Right.
but aren't
I hope it's Lowcock.
Well, if it isn't, I guarantee you that Sir Eva will come up here and explain it to you at the end of her stick.
I love that. Really.
Her question is, what is your favorite nightly tradition in your kingdom?
Visual
And
movies.
I will throw a hook onto that, or an addendum. That's you're trying to get me kicked off the air.
What?
Just kidding. We have no standards here.
You put a disclaimer up there. I mean,
Oh yeah.
do?
That's right. I wash my hands. So her question is, what is your favorite nightly tradition in your kingdom? And I will add on, what is your favorite nightly tradition that you've seen in other kingdoms that you would like to see in your kingdom?
So we don't visual movies. How to explain that? So like, that sounds horrible. I know it sounds horrible, but for something got in the water there for a while, you would get knighted. They would put you on vigil, and at some point in the night, women would run in and flash their boobies at you. I don't know what started it, but God bless you. It's not right, but shit. I mean, it's vigil boobies.
Yep.
It's not right, but it's not wrong either.
I mean, come on. So, we don't have a set knighting ritual or anything we do. Like every knighting we do is kind of tailored to that person's persona. So, you know, it's really hard to say. You know, I've seen some super cool ones. One of my squires, John the Bell Ringer, used to have long hair and stuff, big burly manly beard. So, and his was a surprise, you know, but we had talked about this ahead of time. He's a crusader. So we put him on vigil. We shaved his head, shaved his face, and bathed him, you know, out in the woods and stuff. They burn the hair in this ritual way, wash his hands and feet. And it was a beautiful moment. It was you know, something out of time. I thought that was amazing. And I you know, like, shit, I wish I'd have done that. Out of kingdom,
right.
Out of kingdom, I've seen, man, you see so much cool stuff. One of the ones that comes to mind though is, and I know they do this a lot of different places in a lot of different kingdoms, but I went up to Artemisia and I saw Fedor. So Fedor get knighted, and they sing when they knight somebody. They sing a song as they're being knighted and stuff like that. And I know Palantir does it in colors, and I think that's awesome. All the knights, you know, singing and welcoming the brother in. Again, it was just a magical moment, just the beauty of the SCA and just, you know, that moment.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, vigil boobies. Yeah.
I know, right?
I was honored to be the first knight of our kingdom. So I was the first one to get those, and I have blessed whoever thought that up. And I always will, because they were lovely. And okay. One of the things that I've seen done a lot is if the knight, the new knight has a significant other, they place the white belt on them.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too.
That's really, really cool that we allow that to be done that way, because, you know, the fairer, the better half, you know, is always our inspiration, and with the white belt meaning what it does, you know, to have that significant other look at you and say, don't let this be tarnished, you know, it is a very powerful thing. In other kings, one of the coolest things I've seen is the king holding the sword of state and all the knights who were in attendance putting their chain on that sword in solidarity with the candidate. I thought that was, I saw that once and I thought that was extremely cool.
That's pretty badass. I
Yeah,
haven't seen that before.
I mean, and then you see this sword with this clump of chains on it like this, because there's 50 knights there, you know. Yeah. It was very, very cool. Very, very cool.
That's awesome. That's really that sounds really, really cool. Okay, so our next question, and we're just warning everybody now. We're in our last 10 minutes of the show, so we're going to answer a couple more questions, but we will definitely be on Discord tonight for the after show discussion. So if you want to join us there, I'll throw the link up here. Actually, maybe I'll throw it up right now. Yes. Yep. It's going up right now. So the link to our Discord is going up right now. So you can join us after the show. We'll be there. Not immediately after, probably about 5 minutes or so after the show's over. We'll be over there. And then if there are any questions that we didn't get to that you guys want to ask, you can come over there and ask our guests those questions, and they can politely tell you to, fuck off if they want to.
So is the next question about John Bearkiller and the Crown of Northshield? That's the question.
Oh, no. That's the next to last question.
That's probably why.
Don't worry, I'll get to that because Pawpaw's in the audience
to answer that one, because
See, I didn't watch
Pawpaw's
the
definitely
show,
in the audience.
So I got sprung with that.
All right. Our next question is from Master Lash out here in the West, one of our awesome Masters of Arms out here. And that is, when you first started, what was your impression of the Shiv, and how does it compare to now? Yeah, I thought that you would like this one.
James is going to love this one. My impression when I first got in was that they were a bunch of cliquish assheads. I mean, really, really, I swear that's exactly what I thought. I thought that, that it was a club within a club that you couldn't go up in their club, right? So I'm like, yeah, F you, I don't need your club, right? But now that I am a knight, I understand much better that while I don't think they were as welcoming as I think they should have been, and I'm sure James will expound upon that, we need to do better as an order, but I understand why. Back in the early mid 90s, I can look back on it now that I am a knight, and I understand. My feeling now has changed, that from what I thought was the horrible example of what the game was all about, I now feel it is our duty to be the example of what the game is all about.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Sorry, I was taking a drink and was not ready for you to be done answering that question. Go ahead.
Right out the gate, I was like, these bunch of receding hairline, dad bod, fucking genital wart juggling motherfuckers. That's what I thought. I didn't know. Fuck this shit. And I'll tell you what, like, some of the shit I still feel that way about. I'll say it. Some of them still are. Like, get your fucking shit together, man. Like, goddamn, it's 2021. Get your fucking shit together. Me included. Like, I got shit I got to work on. We all do. Yeah. We all do. We all got shit we need to work on. I was not a fan starting out. I was not a fan at all. I met, I did meet some cool knights. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think they saw me on my fucking war path, and they're like, "We gotta calm that fucking maniac down." They cuddled me, swallowed me up. Just, shh, baby, it's okay. I met Sir Thomas Ellsbury. Man, I mean, he's one of those guys. Everybody knows that knight walks into a room, and you're like, "Holy shit, that's a knight." I met him. He walked in. I was like, "Holy shit, that dude's a knight." Spoke very elegantly. He was very, very very patient with me and stuff. And that was kind of my turning point, I think. And then again, met some other cool dudes. So.
Absolutely. That's awesome. All right. So we got a couple few other messages here. This one from Sir Eva. She wanted us to make sure that we knew exactly how to pronounce Loch see, I'm gonna screw it up every time. She knows this. She just likes to have me like screw up names on the show. But
I think it's my southern drawl. I think that's what it is. I don't think I can say it's my southern drawl.
Well, you know, they're the true Southerners because they're on the bottom of the planet. So maybe that's it.
That's what they do.
All right. So we've got one last question from our audience before we get to our final little bits. And that one is, man, I'm telling you, okay. Can we have just a frank discussion? This is me talking to the known world as a whole. You do not have to have a hard name to say. You don't, because it just makes me look bad. Like, yes, be cool, be an individual, but look, James and Uther, they're graces. They're well known in the SCA.
I'm gonna tell you my trick, Logan. Here's my trick. Anytime I see a name that I can't pronounce, because I'm normally a Crusader persona, they're always Steve in my Christian tongue.
Steve. All right. So this comes from Steve from Antier. So moving forward, what are your goals within the SCA? You guys have already become knights and dukes. Do you have anything else that you want to achieve? Like, what are you looking forward to?
Man, so I know this will never happen, but I preach it all the time. When everybody's up here, the SCA wins. And that's kind of my driving thing right now, man. Is that I want to help people help themselves. I want to help people help me. I want to help people help the SCA. I want, just whatever I can to further this thing along. Right? Like I said earlier, man, we have a shining opportunity to be rock stars for swinging the stick, man. And we fucked that up a lot, but man, we sure do fucking try too. So that's it for me. Like, I enjoy showing up. I enjoy going to events. Goal wise right now, going to an event. That's my goal.
I think that's the goal that most of us have right now is just getting to an event.
Any goals? Wow. So 3 years ago, my house burnt down. We lost 20 years of our SCA life and 20 years of our mundane life. It was about 3.5 years ago, almost 4 years ago now. At that point, I never knew if I'd ever come back to the SCA after losing all that stuff. So, but having said that, my goals are just to try to be, and this is an actual serious, as much as we've effed off and joked around, this is a really serious thing that I want to do. I want to be the example for that one person to follow to make the SCA a better place. That's my goal. If I can do that for one person, I have succeeded in everything, and everything is ratified, and all the work and everything we've done actually meant something.
That's a tall order, but
it is, and that's what keeps you going, right? That you have to strive every day for it. You can't take a day off.
No, I think you're 100% right. Well, gentlemen, it's just about that time. Thank you for
crowns. What was that?
Well, thank you for putting up with me and answering all these fantastic questions from my audience. They make this show because they come up with the good questions. I've got my list. But before we go, there's a question I always like to ask my guests. Do you have anything that you use as an inspiration, books, music, any kind of consumable media, web shows, or anything that you do yourself that you'd like to plug and have people take a look at? Stuff that gets you, in that medieval mindset.
I watch a lot of shows on YouTube and Facebook. So this one, What Makes a Knight with Cal and Sean, Coach's Corner, the video breakdown show that Sean and Sir Helga do. We live really in a blessed age, everybody out there, that we can, even if we can't see each other face to face, we can actually have parts of the SCA still given to us. We can still share these things with each other over the wonderfulness of technology. So to get me really in that medieval mind, I've got something on in the background, usually from the Coach's Corner, because of prowess and then franchise. So I'm always looking to improve, and I'm always looking to learn. So listening to some of the wisdom that comes out of that show is really amazing.
I agree.
So life sucks sometimes, and like you think about it, like when you're in high school, like early college, young kid, you're like, oh, life sucks, and you just keep getting beat up and beat down and beat up and stuff. And you're like, oh god damn, I hate this life. Things aren't right. I hate things. And you're just a moody, brooding little sop of shit. And then you get a girlfriend, or you fall in love, and then the world's brighter, right? Because you love something. That's the SCA for me. Even now, not seeing people, not being able to go to events and stuff, that love is still there. So even as shitty as things are, I touch base with the SCA, and I'm reminded of that love of something. So everything out there inspires me. The people that are keeping on and going on, and keeping that love going. Rifkin and Shaxi, you, Sean, Helga. I mean, there's Bjorn. There's so many shows being put out. There's so many people putting out just little things about what they miss and all that. So any of it and all of it. That's anywhere I can touch it, and it just reminds me of that love.
Absolutely, 100%. And like I say it every week. Without Tulia and Helga and Between Two Peers, this show would not be here. It would not exist. Not only that, I mean, Backyard Basics with Duke Mark, and like the Coach's Corner, like you guys said, and Coffee with Cal, What You Playing Wednesdays, like everything. Not just the
great.
Yeah, not just the fighting shows. Like I dig it. I really like the all the fighting video analyst shows that are out there now. Like, I can't wait to start fighting again and have somebody videotape my fights just so I can send it to them, just so they can tear me apart, but tell me what I'm doing wrong. You know what I mean? Because there's so much more that that they catch, in those slow-mos and everything. But there's so many people out there. Oh, and Saga Saturdays. If you've not seen Saga Saturdays, if you like Norse stuff, you got to go on YouTube and look up Saga Saturdays, because Kindhild and her crew, like they touch on a lot of like awesome things, stuff that you don't even like, you didn't realize that you wanted to know about, but you really, really do. And they get into it, man. Like
that's my jam. That's my jam.
Yeah, I love it. Look that up. I haven't seen that one yet. I will absolutely be looking that one up.
Oh yeah, well it's all on YouTube. All their past stuff is on YouTube, and they've got more stuff coming up. So really, really good, really, really interesting stuff. Well, gents, I mean that's pretty much it. We've done our hour, and
you want me to clear the story about John's story?
Oh, like, yes. So that was the last thing I had to ask.
Bad crowns.
So no, all right. So hang on. For like 5 stories, right. There's 5 stories that get lumped into one giant story. So about this Crown and North Shield incident that happened in Australia, right? So let me preface this, right? So I was a squire. I was a shitty squire, a shitty squire. I didn't tend to my knight's needs at all. I would fight. You know, when the fight was over, I'd drink, you know, and just leave his shit on the field. But my knight won crown. And like our deal was, we win crown, we're going to Australia, right? Is that, you know, and mainly because like, well, you know, he gets into shit for free, so I'm gonna make him take me along because I'm a freeloading little squire. Fuck, right? So we go to Australia. John goes because he's gonna help us out, Bear Killer, you know, my grand knight, you know, Padrug's knight and stuff. So this is how this fucking trip starts. Before anything else, we're in the airport at 4 o'clock in the morning, waiting to fly to Phoenix. I have an anal rape phobia. I don't want to go into why. It's a long story. But I'm standing in flip-flop shorts and a t-shirt at the checkout, you know, at the security to get in, right? And this woman is about to fucking penetrate me. I know it. She's snapping the glove on, and I get the fucking cold sweats. He's about to get behind fucking curtain number 2, and I'm panicking, right? And I think John senses the fucking panic. So John comes over, looks at her, looks at me, and is like, and looks at the woman, and he's like, I know what you're thinking. Have this old grizzled man get a young hot piece of meat and slaps me on the ass. And I'm like, John, right? And she's startled, I'm startled. John's got a half chub, and I'm like, fuck me, right? So, like, that's it, right? So, you know, it's fucking weird. And then, you know, so we get on the plane and she gets to go home and tell her friends she met Ernest Borgnine in his power bottom. So we're on the fucking plane and John's like, what's up with that? I'm like, well, I got an anal rape phobia. And he's like, what's going on down there? I'm like, well, nothing, it's pristine. And he's like, well, what do you mean, right? And so we have to explain to John that I used to be an exotic dancer. And Joe's like, yeah, he's, you know, just dancing Yoder's in Duluth, Alabama. He was a stripper, John. And John's like, what? So John gets obsessed with the stripping, you know, and the fiasco happening down below. So he's like, well, what was your stage name? And I'm like, well, I had a bunch. I was Jane St. James, but everybody called me Jimbo. And he's like, why Jimbo? And I'm like, well, you got to have aliases. So like north of the Mason-Dixon, I'm Jimmy the Righteous. West of the Mississippi, I'm Jimbo the Benevolent. But the Jimbo came from Jimmy Botox. And he's like, what? I'm like, well, you Botox your testicles, you can shave them, and it gets them super clean, right? You need something pristine down there. So, you know, Jimbo, right? That's my shit. So, right? Okay. Maybe some of the times you squeeze the wrinkles out to get it shorn. So, right? So we get to Australia, and I had like, they'd given me one thing. They're like, two things. Like, don't let Padrug get drunk and give out awards, and don't let any whores get near you. So I'm on that, right? So I'm like, all right, we monitor this booze, right? And anybody that walks up, I just fucking throat chop them. Crack-ah! So like, nobody's getting near John, right? I hip check the fucking toddler for hugging him too long. Nobody's getting near him, right? So John, though, is still fixated on the fucking downstairs situation. And because I wasn't raised, you know, fucked up kid in my, you know, history at Yoder's and stuff, he's like, well, let's see him. So I talk, and then I out my shorts, I show him, and it's like this, you know, glistening fucking Vin Diesel action coming out. And he's, holy shit, look at that. So then it becomes a thing where it's just like, Jimbo, balls. Okay, so I show my balls, right? Do what your damn right tells you, you know, the mighty Duke John the Bear Killer tells Jimbo to act, you fucking act. So I'm his fucking dance monkey, his fucking little ball monkey, right? So this, you know, and it's not just him, it's like carries on and on and on, right? So then I'm trying to, you know, fucking be John's little fucking show pony and be a good squire, because I've been a shitty squire. So I'm on throat chopping, ball checking, booze, nothing. Carries on. Comes around the end of the war, and I'm like, I've got to fucking break loose, because holy shit, you know, I've been working my dick off, and all that. And as John can tell that I'm getting a little pissed off and getting a little bit out of shape. So John's like, hey, look, Friday night, Saturday night, We can go up Sunday, Saturday night. You go out, have a good time. I'll monitor, Padrug and his crew, right? And I'd kind of gotten the horse situation dialed down to a minimum because I told everybody that when Padrug was younger, he had diploid genital lupus, and he had this just fucked up lumpy mess downstairs. And the blood bulldog meant porridge crotch, right? So he was like a burn up hot dog and a sack of wet curds down there, right? So women just that fucking fixed that, right? I couldn't fix the drinking, I couldn't fix the court thing, but John had that. I'd fix the other thing, right? So he had been palling around with a Prince of Northfield, right? Cool dude, super cool dude, but fucking hazing just kept on. Jimbo boss, Jimbo drink, Jimbo armor, Jimbo this. I'm like, God damn it, right? But it's cool. It's cool. Because my plan was, if I get them both super fucking shitty drunk, I can take compromising photos and blackmail them both into a court bearing. That was my fucking plan. So Saturday afternoon, we stripped on our, fucking tightened down our diaper masks because we were getting shit-faced, right? So fucking, we start pouring them down. They take them down this body competition, and I leave them with John, and I run out in the fucking darkness because now, I'm just so So fucking night carries on a little bit. I'm sitting in this camp, having a nice relaxing time, drinking. And I believe in karma. I believe in hot, sticky, ropey jets of karma. And I'm about to get my karma. Right? Because I have this woman who comes out of the darkness and she's like, "Are you James the Holy?" And I'm like, "Maybe." And she's like, "The Crown Prince of Northfield needs you immediately." And I think fist fight. I don't know why, but I'm thinking they're fist fighting. So I run my ass, I power walk my ass back down there, and there's no fist fight. They're just drunk fucks. But what do I see? I see John the Bird Killer, who is, those like grass tiki walls and stuff. He's ripped one of those down, tucked it under his belt, and he had played this, what's the little cup game where you put the ball and you shuffle the cups, right? He's got an argument with a guy in Merchants earlier that day who had taken him out of like $5 with his fucking cup game. So John had found that guy, beat the guy up or did whatever, and got his fucking coconut. So John's got this grass skirt tucked up under his fucking belt with these coconut things, dancing around, just like, woo! And everybody's, and he's like, JBK. And I'm like, what the fuck is this, right? So Crown Prince of Northfield sees me. He's like, I got to get this out of here. So he hands me his crown. And I'm like, yes. So I slip off into the darkness, right? I can't get them alone to take pictures, but I can take pictures with this crown, blackmail myself into a court barony, right? Because at this point, I'm never going to get an SBA. This fucking court barony that I blackmail my way into. So I run into this fucking camp where I see these ladies and these people, and I'm like, "Hey, anybody got a camera?" And they're like, "Why?" And I'm like, "This," and I whip the fucking crown out, and they're like, "Oh, we've got a camera." So they take me in this fucking tent, right? And we go in there, and all of a sudden it's like everything, the vent like stops, like you can't hear anything inside this tent, and it's all smoky and dark. And they're like, "Well, let's see it." So I pull the crown in, and they're like, "Get the mistress." And I'm like, "Who the fuck is the mistress?" Right? Right. There's some eyes wide shut shit about to happen. I don't know what's going on. Like, there's some freaky shit that happens in the desert. So this woman comes out, right, and she's wearing like this like a cotton, all right, and she's like, "Oh," and I'm like, "I must be the fucking mistress, right?" Because this reverence about her is this like fog of like desert smoke and pre-orgy must rolls in. And I'm just like, what the fuck? So she's like, "Let me see it." So I hand it to her. She drops part of the chitin and puts it like on her boob. Like, and she's like talking like, this is the crown of blah, 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 whatever boobdom. And I'm fucking fascinated. I'm just like, holy shit, this is happening, right? So I don't know, fast forward later, and she's laid out, and she's got the crown, gingerly laying on her glistening love thicket, right? And 45 minutes of glamour shots later, I'm like, I better take that back, right? So I give it back, right? And do what I can. Things happen. Get back to camp. Find the proper people. And I'm like, "Here's I've got this thing from your guy, right?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, we better take that." I'm like, "Oh yeah, you better." So and I just want to say, like, all this stuff happening, great things happened to that man. There was a power imbued in that crown. I'm just going to say that right now. So there's never really any John, because the rumor was I ran by, tackled this guy, whipped my dick out, slapped him with it, put my balls on it, and then hero, and triumphed out like Maximilian. But yeah, that's all. Australia, man.
All right. So I have to say that like we were wrapping up and I saw like 2 or 3 of our viewers like dropped off. They missed all of that.
Oh,
and they are going to be nobody tell them. Nobody tell them. Oh my goodness. So Your Grace James, I have to ask you, are you related to Sir Fergus McGart?
No, I know the name. I've seen a couple of interviews, but no.
Are you sure? Because you guys, like, we've got to have a show with the 2 of you just telling opposing stories. Like, I will give you the story, and then each of you has to tell it in a like from their point of view. Like, I think that we would have a hit on our hands with that.
I've lived an eclectic life, man. I'm fearless.
Well, now that I can breathe again, thank you both so much for being on the show. It's been a wonderful time. I hope you had as much fun as I have, because like, yeah, that was great.
Thank you so much, Logan. This was awesome and amazing and just a whole lot of fun. Really a pleasure.
Absolutely, my pleasure. My pleasure. So we will be on the what is it? Oh yeah, the Ask the Knights Discord, so it's the Ask the Knights after show Discord, but it's on the Between Two Peers Discord, and I threw the thingy in there. Let me see if I can put it in there again. Look at that. I'll throw it in there one more time so that you guys can come and join us. We'll be there in just a few minutes. So go on over there, hang out, and we'll be there as soon as we can. Thank you, guests. Thank you, viewers, because without this show, or without you, this show would be absolutely nothing. So thanks.
Thank you.
Good night.
Night, everybody.
Gotta get the last bit in
Night.
there. Good night, and we'll see you next week.
Yep.
Oh, wait. I got to do this right.
Uh-oh.
See, I already screwed it up. I've already messed it up.
Damn it, Logan, it was going so well.
Right? I thought I had it, but all right. So we'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.